So just go ahead and lay back, make yourself comfortable, especially if for your back it feels better to bend at the knees. You can definitely do that. And then feel the lowest part of your back kind of sink down towards the ground. Arms can be positioned anywhere. And then just close down the eyes and take a couple deep breaths. As you exhale, just let the body sink down even further, just as the muscles are starting to relax away from the bone. And then with your next inhale, just stretch the body really long. Reach from the fingertips to the toes and lengthen out completely. And then we'll take a little bit of a side bend here. So walk your feet to the lower right corner of the mat and walk your hands to the upper right corner of the mat. So you're kind of like a banana shape. And then with that, you can, if it helps, cross your left ankle over top of your right ankle. That helps to kind of anchor it. And you can sink then downward through the left hip and the left shoulder. And then come back through center, and same thing over to the other side. So feet go left, hands go left. Maybe the ankles cross right over top of left. And then everything on the right side of the body usually kind of wants to lift up here. We'll just keep sinking it downward. And then come back to center again. Stretch really long fingertips to toes. And then reach both knees up toward the chest. So stay here for a couple breaths, and you can stay still or sort of rock side to side, or the head can lift up if that helps to lengthen out the low back a little bit more. And then take the left foot down onto the ground, and we'll cross the right ankle over top of the left thigh. So we'll come into that kind of figure four posture, flexing the right foot. Left foot can stay planted, or we can lift it up off of the ground. So we get that nice hip stretch through the right side. Good, and then take the left foot back down to the ground, and we'll take that twist that we took before. So we'll do it a little bit differently this time though. So with the legs crossed like this, right heel on left thigh, we'll drop both legs over to the right side first. And try and keep the left shoulder down on the ground. And then that right foot can kind of push against the outer left thigh, helping that knee drop toward the floor. We should get a nice long stretch through the left side body, left waist, rib cage. And we'll come back up to center, and then staying crossed like this still, we'll drop over to the other side. So legs can both go to the left. And then if you need a little bit more, that left hand can press against the outer right knee or thigh this time, while the right shoulder presses into the floor. And then let's come back up to center. And we'll just squeeze both knees up towards the chest again, just to kind of center things. This time, let's go ahead and lift the head, tuck the chin, forehead toward the knees, engaging the core a little bit, starting to heat up the body. And then head comes down, right foot comes down, and left foot crosses over top. We'll press that left knee out and away, and the left foot flexes. Right foot can then leave the floor if we need that little extra through the left hip. And then right foot comes down. We'll drop both legs first over to the left side, and then that foot can press against the outer right thigh. Right shoulder pushes into the floor. With twists, there's often a difference between the two sides, so just noticing. Come back up through center, and same thing over toward the right side. Right hand can press against the left thigh, and left shoulder sinks down. And then we'll come back up to center, uncrossing the legs, knees to chest again. And again, lifting the head. This time, let's just kind of rock forward and backward, just getting a little momentum, kind of massaging the low back against the ground. We'll come all the way up eventually, and then find our way to tabletop. Fingers spread wide, stacking all the joints one on top of the next. And then we'll just go through a couple cat-cows to further warm up the spine. So beginning on an inhale for cow pose, and then with an exhale, rounding through, finding cat. And taking just a couple more of those. Good. Next breath in, come back to a neutral spine, and then we'll go right into downward facing dog. So as you lift up and back, take as much or as little movement as you need, especially for the legs, but really anything goes. You can really get into the shoulders and the chest opening as it presses back towards the thighs. And then on your next inhale, come forward to plank. And then breathing out, press back down dog. And we'll just do that a couple times. So you can kind of take it at your own pace, moving forward with each in-breath and backward with each exhale. And then we'll just sort of build onto this to start creating a little heat. The next time you come back to down dog, just go ahead and stay there. And then again, let's go ahead and come forward plank pose. This time though, walking the hands backward to the feet at the back side of the mat. So as you come back to the back of the mat, just let the head hang. Find a nice relaxed forward fold. Knees can be at least softly bent. Shake out the head even, release the neck some. On an inhale, take a halfway lift. And then breathing out, fold back down. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up. And exhale, fold back down. Good. Walk the hands forward again for plank pose. And then we'll exhale, downward facing dog. So we'll just build onto that series. On an inhale, take the right leg up into the air. On an exhale, shift forward like plank, but tuck your right knee to your right elbow. On an inhale, come back up, right leg to the sky. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, shift forward, plank pose. And then exhale, walk the hands backward to the feet at the back side of the mat. This time on an inhale, knees stay soft. We'll roll up nice and slow, including the arms on that inhalation. And then exhale, fold back down to the ground. And we'll just do the same thing other side. Inhale, hands walk forward, plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg lifts up and back. exhale, shift forward, left knee, left elbow. Inhale, left leg lifts high, three-legged dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, this time bend the knees and look forward. Exhale, make your way to the top end of your mat. I'm going to take a bunch of little steps or one big giant step and just come into ragdoll here, upper body hanging. You can reach for opposite elbows or just let the arms loosely hang, either way. On an inhale, take a halfway lift. And then fold back down. And as you fold, separate the feet a little bit wider. Yeah, so they're like double hips width. And then on your next breath in, sweep your right arm up into the air, planting the left hand or fingertips down on the ground, and bend the left knee so that the right leg is pressing really long. Drop the right hand behind the back and twist the right shoulder up towards the ceiling. It's almost like you're trying to face your chest up towards the ceiling, the shoulder drops back behind, and then release right hand down to the ground. Just same thing other side. So left hand goes up, right knee bends, and then that left hand comes behind the back as the chest rotates up towards the ceiling. And both hands release down to the ground, and we'll halfway lift again. Feet can stay wide here. Exhale and fold. And then reach all the way up, arms kind of wide, take the chest up towards the ceiling, just a little bit of a back bend, and exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift, breathe in, and then plant the palms, step the feet back, plank pose. Let's stay here for just one inhale, and then elbows can bend to your own degree, maybe all the way to the belly or pausing in chaturanga. With a breath in, chest lifts up, cobra or up dog. And then let's drop the knees and find child's pose for a couple of breaths. Letting the forehead rest down and the whole body relax. Just checking back in with the breath. And then inhale, press up to tabletop. And then, again, really make sure here that the joints are nicely stacked, just creating that sturdy foundation before stretching the right leg straight backward. And we'll take the left arm straight forward. Pull in through the belly, lengthen from fingertips to heel. And then exhale, squeeze in, knee to elbow. Inhale, lengthen out. And then we'll do that 2 more times. Breathe out, squeeze in. Inhale, grow long. And then last one, breathe out and breathe in. Take that left hand down onto the ground. Step the right foot forward to come into a kneeling lunge. Good. And then we'll walk that right foot out toward the right side, so that the stance is a little bit wider. Toes still point straight ahead though. And then hands can come back a little bit, and we'll drop this left hand out towards the left side of the body, so it's just outside of the left knee, and right arm will come up and over. So it's a little bit of a side bend. Good, and then legs are gonna stay the same. We'll do just the opposite with the arms though. The right hand can come down to the right side, and then here's where we'll really get into that side and into the hip flexors. Left arm can come up and over. Good, and then both hands make their way back up towards the right foot as it walks inward a little bit. We'll curl the left toes, and we'll lift up into a crescent lunge. So sinking into the front knee, lengthening back through the left leg, arms reach up high. Good. Hands clasp at the low back, And we'll stretch the knuckles down like we're trying to touch them to the left heel as the chest lifts up towards the ceiling. And inhale, arms reach back up. Exhale, hands come down to the ground. We'll step both feet back into plank and then lower all the way down to the belly. Good. Come up onto the elbows for Sphinx pose. So it's just a more gentle back bend. Elbows under shoulders, fingers spread wide, shoulders back, chest lifted. Good. And then press into the right elbow. We'll kind of roll over to the right side. So right hip is down, legs are stacked. And then left hand can come to the ground in front just for a little bit of support. And then we'll really press down into that right elbow, chest lifts, top of the head lifts up. If you need more, you can press up onto the right hand. Good. And then here, it takes a little bit of balance work, so we want to try and stay stacked so we're not dropping or rolling forward or backward. Trying to relax that right shoulder. Good. And then staying here, bend at the top knee, place that foot down to the ground in front, and then push into that foot and lift the hips up, left hand to the sky. Good. Keep pushing into that foot for support, but let the hips sink back down towards the ground, although this time maybe they're not touching. It's just like we got a little bit lazy, lengthening through the right ribs, right waist. And then bring both hands down to the ground, come into plank pose, and then find downward facing dog. Take a big breath in, and then exhale, drop down to the knees, tabletop. Good. Once you're positioned and stacked nicely, stretch the left leg backward and the right arm forward. And then we'll take those little tucks as knee comes to elbow, elbow comes to knee, exhale. Inhale, stretch long. Exhale and squeeze. Inhale, lengthen. And then one more like that. Breathe out. And breathe in. And then both hands down. Left foot comes forward, kneeling lunge. And then left foot walks out towards the left side. Toes still point forward though. Good. And then here we'll take that side bend. As we plant the right hand down, the left arm will go up and over first. Good. And then left hand comes down to the outside while the right arm then comes up and over. Keep sinking into the hips. Hip bones both point forward. And both hands down. That left foot can walk its way inward a little bit more as we find crescent lunge, right toes curl, and we'll sweep the arms up into the air. Working a little more on strength and balance. And then hands clasp the low back. We'll stretch the arms long, lifting the chest up. And breathe in, crescent lunge just for a breath. Exhale, hands to the mat, feet step backward, and we'll come all the way down onto the belly. So same thing, let's start off in Sphinx pose, elbows below shoulders, pressing down in order to lift the chest up high. And then we'll take that side bend other side. So left elbow stays down. We just kind of roll over to the left hip. Legs are straight and stacked. Right hand can come down in front of the body for support. Really pressing into that left elbow so that the head is lifting up towards the ceiling as much as possible. And then maybe the left hand presses down so we get a little bit more there. And the further away from the body it is, the less intense it is, the more we walk it inward, the more we lift up. and then right knee will bend while that foot steps in front of the left leg. We'll press into that as we lift up for a supported side plank. Right hand lifts up towards the ceiling, left leg's nice and long. And then we'll just drop the hips downward. So that left hip is sinking toward the floor, although maybe not touching. And releasing to plank pose. And downward facing dog. Nice big breath in. And then exhale, let's come to child's pose this time. Coming down to the knees. Relaxing the whole body. And just checking back in with breathing. And then let's go ahead and come all the way down onto our backs. So once you come down, just bend the knees and place the feet a little wide but flat on the floor. Let the knees rest in toward each other, and then hands can be anywhere. Just take a couple breaths like this. Good, and then walk the feet together. Squeeze the right knee up into the chest and lengthen the left leg flat on the mat. Yeah. Just really give a nice little squeeze in on that right side. And from here we'll twist that right knee across the body as it drops down toward the ground and keep sinking into that right shoulder. See how this feels, and if you feel like you need a little bit more, you can stretch that right leg straight out to your side so that the two legs kind of make a right angle. Reaching through the right hand if that helps to keep that shoulder downward. Coming back to center. Bring both knees into the chest here in the middle. And then the left one stays in while the right leg stretches long. Give a nice little squeeze in before twisting over and down. And this time it's that left shoulder that likes to kind of lift, so we'll press that down into the floor. And again, the right knee can stay, or the left knee can stay bent, or we can stretch that leg outward. Come back to center here. We'll bring both knees up into the chest. And then take the feet both down to the ground with the knees bent. And we'll drop the knees out towards the sides with the soles of the feet together. And hands here again can really rest anywhere at your sides, or sometimes it helps to open up the chest if we take the arms above the head and make another sort of diamond shape up there. I'm going to take just a couple breaths like this before we go into Shavasana for a few minutes, and you're welcome to stay in this position for Shavasana if this works. We won't be there too long. So whatever position feels most comfortable as we come to just pause in our final relaxation pose. Soles of the feet can stay together, legs can stretch long, or knees can bend. However feels best, close down the eyes. And just start to notice your breath as a way to become really present, but at the same time let go of control over it. Just let it come really easily and naturally. With your next breath in, start to move the fingers and toes. Bend at the knees until the feet are flat on the floor. And just roll over to either side. You can pause in a supported fetal pose for a moment, and whenever you're ready, coming up to a comfortable seat. Bringing the hands into the center of the heart. Eyes can stay closed if that feels okay, and take just a couple breaths here. Finding a balance between lifting tall and trying to maintain posture, but also relaxing, sinking in. And carry that sense of balance with you throughout the rest of your day. Thanks for joining me this morning. Namaste.